I started off yesterday's video by asking one simple question. Would you rather have a fake friend or an honest enemy? Would you rather have someone tell you the truth as it is, or someone glad hand you and high five you all the time, always trying to stay in your good graces? Well, sure enough, today I have to do a video where I am your honest friend. Some might see me as an enemy, but I have to call it like I see it. It's pretty much all everyone can talk about on the web at this point, so I'm going to have to cover it. Guys, that live stream that was done with Mr. Giuliani and the legal team was a fail. It probably did more harm than good. Now, I'm not taking issue with their legal argument before the courts. It hasn't even gone before the courts yet. I'm taking issue with why in the world would they do a live stream with people in front of them, reporters, that they knew were hostile. They have very little concept of how imagery works, of how people perceive things. No plan survives contact with the enemy. This is basic military 101. Planning is indispensable. Plans are useless. Planning is indispensable. Plans are useless. That press conference served no good purpose. Why? If you have the slam dunk legal argument, shut up. Put it before a judge. And then let the judge's ruling speak volumes. Who can read this? Takes you a minute, but you can read it. Your brain adapts to it. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. This isn't the 1950s anymore. It's not even the 1980s anymore. If you wanted to do something like a press conference and put it out because you had information you wanted to put out, all you needed to do was get a camera and then put some people in the audience and give them some questions to ask so that you could answer. People you know that would be polite. Put out your information, have them ask the questions, answer the questions, and then upload the video to YouTube. Release it as a statement, answering the questions that you feel need to be asked. Live streaming in front of these people? Guys, the only people from this point forward that need to be in front of a camera for Trump's legal team are these two people on the left, in the style of the two people in the upper right. Jenna Ellis, Pam Bondi would have told those people, being rude and interrupting and loudmouth, to shut the hell up. In fact, when Jenna Ellis was speaking, you could have heard a pin drop in that room. That's how good she was. I'm sure Giuliani is a wonderful lawyer. I'm sure the other elderly lady is a good lawyer. Let them litigate. Let them do their job. That is not how imagery and delivering media works. You may not agree with it, you may not like it, you may not think it's fair or reasonable, and some I'm sure out there's like, the only reason you want those four out there is because they're pretty blah. I'll tell you what, it doesn't hurt. But I've listened to all of them speak. I've listened to every one of them speak, and the only two that I have heard shut down the media have been Pam Bondi, and Jen Ellis. I've also heard Kayleigh McEnany do it. They know what they're talking about. Tommy Lahren kind of pioneered the technique. The sit down, shut up, I'm the expert, you're here to hear what I have to say. Attitude is everything. delivery is everything. I don't live stream on YouTube for a really good reason. It is prone to disaster, and that was a disaster. I know that Mr. Giuliani feels like he needs to wear the makeup for the cameras and the lights, but then he starts sweating. It starts dripping down his face, and I'm sure all of you saw that. And then, of course, the live stream got hacked for a time. It's a disaster. It doesn't matter what the media thinks. It doesn't matter what they believe. Why this fixation? They don't care. They don't care. This is all they're ever going to say. We had the moral imperative to cheat, so we cheated. I object, there is no proof. We had the moral imperative to cheat, so we cheated. And we created a giant game of Calvin ball in primarily 3 states. Where, and this is another great point, where we had people we know would collude with us on the ground. If we don't have people on the ground to collude with us, we can't get the job done. Case in point, Florida. You would think if there was ever a state they were absolutely, positively going to have to win the election, they would have put all in Florida. And they got clobbered down here. Almost 400,000 votes, 380,000 votes. 600 and something thousand in Texas. Why? They had nobody on the ground to collude with their plans. Which completely defeats the whole programming the machines thing, because if it's just as simple as programming the machines, you don't need anybody on the ground. I was going to do a video today talking about a shockwave that got sent through YouTube last night. They updated their terms of service, and guys, it changes everything. From my perspective. From your perspective, probably not going to change much. But coming from somebody who had to work very hard to achieve partner status. See, there was a time when not just any old person could become a partner on YouTube. Being able to, quote unquote, monetize your videos or run ads on your videos, that was a privilege you had to earn. It was a bar you had to get over. In the new terms of service, YouTube is now going to place ads on channels that haven't reached the level we have. Channels that haven't met the requirements for partner status. But here's the kicker. They're not going to pay those channels. They're not going to allow them to do what they call revenue sharing. Meaning they're going to run the ads on these tiny channels. The channels have absolutely no say in it whatsoever. And they're going to keep all of the profit from that for themselves. Now think about that for 1 minute. Logically. How desperate a straits must they be in financially to do that? You see, you have to have people on the ground. You have to have people on the ground. People ask me about all of these lawsuits in these states. I'm like, why are you going to find relief from the foxes who raided the hen house? There's going to be no relief for this Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin until it gets to a federal level, and that's a whole nother ballgame. This is why I've said if you are in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and you're a conservative, you need to get out. You need to get out fast now. Because they've proven that they now have declared war on you. They see you as the enemy. And they're willing to do or say anything to get rid of you. You are not safe in those states as a conservative. Because as we heard Mr. Giuliani say, and as they saw at the march, you won't be safe there. You won't be safe there. And the authorities will look the other way. As long as the crime agrees with their political stance, they will look the other way. So when I say get out of those states, the time for fighting is over, the proof is right before your eyes. This is where they're coming from. This is the idea. They feel like, and they know, if they play by the rules, they can't win. They needed to create some giant blue pool to dig voters out of. And for those of you who are unaware what Calvin Ball is, I'll leave these up so you can stop frame the video and you can read. It's Calvin and Hobbes is a comic from some years ago, and he has a pet tiger. He's a young boy, and they have this game that the rules continually change, and they make it up as they go, and they use footballs and soccer balls and wickets and croquet stuff and volleyballs, and they create magical zones. And it's a recurring theme throughout Calvin and Hobbes. Changing the rules to benefit you at the time. That's all this is. It's a game of Calvin Ball. And there's multiple examples of it. So I'm kind of wondering when we are all going to have to stand around and sing the I'm Sorry song. Because that's where this is going to go. These people told you who they were a long time ago. A long time ago, they told you, we don't care about the rules. Might makes right. We have the moral imperative. You saw it all summer, 2020. They're willing to tell you what you can and can't do inside your own home. For the holidays, they're willing to tell you where you can and can't worship. They don't care. Don't think in your state, if you haven't gotten conservatives into positions of local power, that you have the ability to anymore. At least in Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. I would get out as fast as you can. As fast as you can. They don't care. If the president has any chance, he needs to focus on the reality. Not what he thinks the reality should be. Not what you or I believe, should be. Just what is. The only people that need to be answering any questions from reporters, I would suggest nobody. But if they're gonna do it, Pam Bondi or Jenna Ellis. That live stream was a nightmare, and it wasn't even necessary. I don't even get the point of it. Meaning, I don't get the point of doing it live. I don't get the point of just going out there in front of the wolves. If the idea is to get the information out, and I'm sure people are already typing about that, about what they have and what they're doing, simply, and I know I use the presidential one here, it's not hard to find a room this size, set up some chairs, get a few dozen people, aim a camera at the podium with the legal team, have them make their statement, which is what Jenna Ellis said they were doing. This is what drives me nuts about this. Jenna Ellis, even in the live stream, says, all we're doing here is giving you a briefing on what our plans are. When you continually say no evidence, we're just telling you what we have and what we're going to take to a court, put before a judge. Okay, if that's all you're doing, if you're giving a briefing, then just pre-record the briefing. If you want to have certain questions asked and answered, have people put in the audience in front who will ask the question politely. That's their only job there, just ask those questions. Answer the questions, and then hit stop on the recording device. Take a look at it. If there was a mistake or you forgot something, do it again. And then release it. Then upload it. At that point, it goes to this. It can't be hacked. Live streams can be hacked. In fact, this one was for a time. And the information gets out. People can then download it, review it, record it, and it goes smooth. And if they see something like, the makeup error with Giuliani, or the other lawyer, the taller elderly woman, with her voice cracking all the time, maybe you redo that. Say, you know what? Okay, let's just get the information out with somebody who can deliver it, who isn't, have some camera issues. I mean, a lot of people do. Speaking in front of people, their voice cracks, and it's just about, not being a speech deliverer. She's a lawyer. She's a litigator. That's her job. No more was this true than in this live stream recently from these people. No plan survives contact with the enemy. And guys, I hate to say it again, but I'm going to reiterate it. YouTube, this media, is all about perception and imagery. Should it always be that way? No, it just is. It just is. People talk to me about, why are your thumbnails all clickbaity, and why do you use all 100 characters that they allow you in the title with all caps? Because that's what works. 4 years, 36 million views, 35 million views, something like that. Actually more if you count the videos I was forced to take down, probably closer to 40 million views. Am I the biggest channel out there? No. Do I know a little bit about this? Yeah. It's my job. Military. Not a super sniper, not a super soldier, not Delta Force, not Ranger, nothing like that. Not even infantry. My job was to solicit information from people using basic psychological techniques and get them to behave in ways that were beneficial to the U.S. military using psychological techniques. If these people have designs on doing that, humbly, I would offer my advice. Pam Bondi, or Jenna Ellis, Kayleigh McEnany, or nobody. Or record it. And make sure it is delivered in a way that there are not distractions. Don't continually, and I'll leave with this. Who cares what CNN thinks? Who cares what MSNBC thinks? Who cares? Clearly established, biased. Knowing that, why entertain them? Why talk to them? Issue them statements and move on. Issue them statements and move on. And then let them take it over to their channel and dissect it and do whatever they want. But don't participate actively. Nobody wins. These people are experts. You know why? They have Hollywood on their side. These people are experts at delivering imagery in a way that they can make people believe up is down, left is right. It's just ridiculous. You can't compete on that field. You have two people that are very good at it. Pam Bondi and Jenna Ellis. Kayleigh McEnany. Let them speak. Tell everybody else to do their job. And stay out of the line of sight of these cameras and these ridiculous reporters. Because it just makes no sense. It doesn't benefit you. Speaking to the Trump legal team here. And it doesn't benefit us, and it doesn't benefit the case. It doesn't change the facts, for sure. But what was your point? If your point was to get it out so that there was a public opinion move on the needle somewhere, you need to do a little better job of understanding how this media works. It doesn't matter how good your facts are. If you deliver them in a way that isn't effective, it's going to go over everybody's head. So anyway, I'll leave it there. 20 minutes. Like, share, subscribe.